Can you hear that funky music when it's playing, Paul? I like that funky music. Can you hear it in your headphones?
I can hear it. And welcome to everyone who's watching. And apologies for the delay. Sometimes the best things are best waited for.
That reminds me of Heinz Tomato Ketchup advert from the 1980s, which was Matt LeBlanc, Joey Tribbiani. Do you remember this advert? Do you remember it?
No,
right, I'm just going to go over this. You just put it into my head, so I have to explain it now. There's nobody watching.
Election special.
Election special. But no. This is important. Matt LeBlanc, Joey Tribbiani, getting a hot dog underneath a building. He says, "Do you want mustard on that?" And he goes, "No, I got it covered." And beforehand, he's gone all the way to the top of this building, put a bottle of sauce on it, and put a brick on the sauce. And basically, it takes so long to come out of the bottle. And he was like catching it on his hot dog. That was Matt LeBlanc, Joey Tribbiani, Heinz ketchup advert. True story. But that's not why we're here. Why are we here, Paul? You are absolutely right.
We're here because the UK is going through a new election. We get to vote for another party.
We do.
For another 4 years.
What an exciting time to be alive. Isn't it? It's an exciting time to be alive. Election special. And we've done some homework for this one. Normally, we're just... Well, you do homework. I don't normally do homework, guys. I don't like homework. Paul does homework. But he said to me, no, you have to do homework. You have to do homework for this one, he said, because we've been over. So you don't have to. We have gone over with a fine-tooth comb the main party's manifestos for the 2024 election. We've been through it, so you guys don't have to. And we're going to reveal the thumbs up and the thumbs down bits from it. And we're probably going to give him a rating for likelihood of voting. Are we going to do that?
Give him a rating, but I wouldn't dissuade people from looking at these great websites that the parties have put together. We are a slightly slighted opinion that's been formed over many years of white privilege.
So, of white privilege and general grumpiness.
So who's watching us, but potentially they may have a different opinion and view.
They'd be wrong if they do have a different opinion. I mean, everyone's free to their own opinion. Everyone's free to be wrong. That's fine. No problem at all. We've got so the way it's going to work, election special episode, we've taken all of the parties. We're going to go Labour, Tories, Reform, Lib Dem, Green Party, SNP, Plaid Cymru, if I've pronounced that right, Welsh. If not, it's your own fault. Plaid, whatever. It's our own fault for having such a difficult language. So we're going to go through those. We're going to give the plus things from the manifestos and the things we don't like from the manifestos. We're going to sum it up for you. Absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant. I'm loving this. Paul, I think we should start. This is your idea. This was Paul's idea, this episode. So, Paul, you're going to start with the Labour for us, aren't you? You've been through the Labour manifesto. Tell us about the Labour manifesto.
I want to say something about all these manifestos.
Go on.
I think you'll come to this conclusion at the end when we've gone through the good and bad points. The manifestos are full of insanity. There is some brilliant parts of it, some good bits, and we're going to go through the good points. But there are some really awful things where you just think, who in the room said this was a good idea? And is this a representation of how stupid you lot are?
Yeah. I want to be in those rooms. I want to be in the focus groups where they go, right, guys, build a manifesto. What are we going to do? I reckon in the Tory HQ, it's just, they just reel out this dusty old document that's got blame Corbyn. Blow that off. Blame Corbyn. Stop boats. That's basically it. That's the structure of the manifesto. But don't let me.
It's probably the manifesto they had during the Viking invasions.
Yeah, probably blame Corbyn. It was Corbyn's fault. But anyway, let's go, man. Tell us about the Labour one. Tell us about Labour.
So Labour, we're going to start with good and then bad.
Good and bad, right? Hit us.
Yeah, we're going to start with positive because I think it's good to put positive energy in the world, and it also is a bipolar representation of the insanity of the bad one. So the good one for the Labours is free breakfast clubs in every primary school. Brilliant idea. Really nice idea. I'm all about investing in schools because the schooling system has your children for a good 10 years or so. 10 years? No, 13 years. As your kids. So the more you can invest in them, the more time, the more you can give them the knowledge and wisdom, hopefully the more rounded they come out at the end, or well, rounded if they eat too much food, but rounded in the sense of a psychological thing. So yeah, free breakfast clubs in every primary school. Fantastic idea. I had it when
nice.
I know some kids that get it for about it when they were younger, and it helps massively. It
Free
stops
breakfast
you having
clubs.
to worry about patronage.
Fair enough.
And it also gives variety.
This is for everyone, right? So this is we're not discriminating now on how much you earn or anything like that. So families who earn more, whatever, it's just free breakfast clubs for all children. Clubs. All children of all ages. Is there a cap on this in the Labour one? What are we saying?
Free breakfast club. Well, primary schools. So primary schools up till. Where's primary schools up to?
10,
my God,
11,
9.
Something like that.
Yeah, it depends where you are, what area you are. Yeah. So 9 in Milton Keynes. And then the bad. So
what's the bad?
And this is I don't, again, who's in the room? Invest in road maintenance to fill up to 1 million potholes every year. And this to me is, why is this a declaration of something on your manifesto?
You got to be in your bonnet about this one, haven't you? You got to be in your bonnet about this.
Yeah, why are you taking up space to say, right, we're going to fill potholes? Just do it. You know, we pay road tax. Fill potholes. That's what the road tax is for. To tax the road, to make it.
So your point is that this is so business as usual. Why is it a special promise? Yeah. Why are you promising to do what you should be doing? I want to hear the special things in the manifesto. We were talking about this earlier, guys, and I've got a little bit of a flip side to this, which is I think this is a reflection more on the Tories than it is Labour. Because Tories have let the roads go so bad that you can't drive down a single road in the UK without being in serious jeopardy for your wheels and your tyres. Because the Tories have let it go so bad, that's why Labour have got it as a special promise. Because it has to be now, because it's normal now for potholes to be everywhere. That's just normal. So I think it's actually a worse reflection on Tories than it is on Labour. This
you don't see potholes on the motorway though, do
you? Not so many. No, that's a fair comment. To be honest, they're always working on the motorway. They never stop working on the motorway. So right, Labour.
We need to move on.
2 for Labour. We do. My 2 for Labour. And similar to what you said a moment ago, they pledge to ban energy drinks for kids. I think it's under 16. Ban energy drinks. I'm for that. That's a good idea. I like that. I actually like any manifesto where they're taking healthy eating, not just for children, for everyone, but especially for children, healthy eating, healthy food education, that sort of thing. I like seeing that in the manifesto. So energy drinks for kids, knock it on the head. Don't need that caffeine. You don't need that crap in your body. The one that I thought was a bit mental, and it's a little bit like your pothole one, where I'm going, why am I reading this in a manifesto? Which was they want to clamp down on ticket touts. Which, don't get me wrong, fine. Clamp down on ticket touts.
The bane of society.
Well, that's it. Do you know what I mean? Is that genuinely in that focus group? They're like, guys, top 10 issues in the UK right now. I can't get a Taylor Swift ticket. Boom, bingo. Somebody put that on the whiteboard. Where's you thinking at with that? Why is it in your manifesto? Fine, clamp down on ticket touts. I'm not entirely sure that's an electable pledge. Well, I don't get it. Well, I really don't get that. I don't get it. There must be more important issues that you could get to, put on your manifesto, put on your website, whatever, above that. How is that made it the cut? You know what I mean? Don't get that. So they're my two. Energy drinks, bad. Ticket touts, bad. Whatever. Let's move on. Tories.
Conservatives. Your side.
Do you want me to go? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just switch it.
So, right. Okay. So I'm going to give you the good thing, first of all, like Paul does, so the positive energy in the room. They have, and it's not one single thing here. I've summarized about 4 or 5 different things within their manifesto, and I'm going to sum it up as standing up for farmers. Standing up for farmers. And I like this. I'm a big fan, and Paul always takes the mic. He always thinks that I look like a farmer with a mortgage appointment or something. But I think that standing up for farmers, I am representative of the rural communities. I absolutely am.
Farming, here's
the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? Brexit has happened, right? We have to get over that. Whether we like it or not, Brexit happened, right? So one of the things that we've got to do now is invest in our own food growth. We've got to do that because importing is harder to do, right? We've got to invest in farmers. Quite simply, no farmers, no food. And I'm a big fan of a chap called James Melville, who's involved with the no farmers, no food sort of movement. It's just madness, right? I've seen with my own eyes, go around the place, I've seen with my own eyes, farmers' fields get replaced, whether they've grown crops, and they're getting replaced with 4 or 5 cows on there or whatever. How is it more profitable for the farmers to have cows on their field than it is to grow crops? It just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. So standing up for farmers is a good thing in the Tory manifesto pledge. The bad thing, now this is a bit of a weird one because it's not necessarily a bad thing. This is a good thing, but it's another one of those where I'm like, well, why is this in the manifesto? And this is banning mobile phones during the school day. Obviously, like why is that a thing? Why are they not already banned? What?
So if we vote Conservatives, that's going to come in. We're going to ban mobile phones from schools. So are we saying that the schools don't have the powers to ban these mobile phones? It needs to have a political party backing it.
Interestingly, they linked it on their manifesto. They've linked it to like an Ofsted report that says the schools that have a no mobile phone policy have statistically done better in Ofsted reviews. I think, well, obviously, again, it's not rocket science, is it?
Statistically, if my kids aren't watching the iPad or phone, they're going to pay more attention to me and listen to what I'm saying. So
I know this is
to schools.
Radical stuff, isn't it? I mean, this is reforming education right now from the Tories. So
again,
we'll get onto that in a minute, won't we? Another one, really, where I just think, is that the best you can do? Like that's just daft. Tories, hit me. What you got?
This was a tricky one, to be honest, because I didn't find any good stuff. I didn't find anything I could really say was positive about them. Going through their site, looking at their manifestos, there was nothing. Maybe it's because just of Rishi's face. Maybe because of his hard times. I can't relate to him the way he didn't get Sky TV.
Did you say his face?
I can't relate to that.
Did you say his face?
Yeah.
You don't like his face?
Yeah, might be it. Yeah, but I mean, I can't relate to his struggles. He didn't get Sky TV as a kid. I was fortunate enough that my parents could get it. And, we're different classes. He may be in the lower class than me. I'm not sure. So couldn't find anything good about them, which doesn't say there isn't. Maybe there's some good stuff, You've brought up some good bits. But the bad one is an obvious one. The bad one is the atomic bomb of bad things in the world, which is to bring back national service.
Oh, good one.
And bring back national service during the 80th D-Day anniversary. And I just think that seems like some sort of weird link. And then bring back national service when they've cut the spending on the military service. And I think the military should get people who are going to go to war, are going to stand in front of someone with a gun and get shot, should get paid a bloody good wage. And then when they retire, they should get looked after until they die. Because Jesus Christ, I wouldn't do it. And if they're doing it for the right reasons and they're doing it for positive purposes and to keep us safe, give them what they need. But to say that we're now going to give you a load of kids and you've got to look after them and you've got to form them and drill them when your resources aren't as much as they need to be, they haven't got that capacity to do it. I've listened to people talking about it, sort of people who have been in the military, saying they don't have the resource to take on loads of kids and then train them. And then what, do they expect them to be the reserves for if we do go to war with Russia? It's not going to happen, is it? How about you make the army more enticing, a better place to be, and a great life to live? Because it says it's going to pay you this, it's going to look after you in retirement, you're going to have a house when you leave. Boom, people will come to it. Make it worth coming. Build it and they will come. Build something that's enticing.
There's a sense of, and we talked about this, didn't we, the other day, and we'll get on to reform in a minute, but there's this sense of this undercurrent, again, of jingoism within this, which, that sort of 1945, everything was better, Brexit, blue passports, milk on my doorstep, national service for children so they learn respect, all of that's that undercurrent, really, of that sort of the same movement that led to Brexit here. And it's nothing other than playing to a particular political demographic during an election campaign. Because here's the thing, if this was such a good idea and the Tories were so into this, why now? Why have you not mentioned this before? Why have you not put this to Parliament before? Why is this you've not voted on? It's all of a sudden, it's like, reform. And to be honest with you, you look back at whenever it was when when it was in 2014 David Cameron election, when it was 15, whenever it was, where they said, David Cameron said, we're going to have a referendum on EU, and the only reason that they did that was because they knew that UKIP were eating into their votes. It's the only reason they did that. And so a lot of UKIP voters were like, all right, then I can vote Tory, whatever. So they didn't want to do that. David Cameron never wanted to do that. He was forced to do it so he could lose or use the UKIP votes, right? And it's the same thing here. I think there's this undercurrent of jingoism that the Tories don't really believe in this. They just know that there's a reform voting block that they can tap into with those sorts of things. Stop the boats, national service, whatever it might be.
But you know where we've got national service, and this is quite an extreme view? Schools. And what I mean by that is, you're not training for military, but you have the kids for this extended period of time. Invest in that. And then invest in teaching them differently. Invest in them not sitting in chairs looking at someone at the front who, from varying reasons, someone's great at their job and they'll make their lessons exciting and engaging. But then obviously you've got some people that are just hardened, can't be bothered anymore, don't give a crap whether the kids do well or not because some of the kids can't be bothered to put the effort in. Invest in schools to make it the Google of the new world.
I think it's the opposite.
Put slides in the schools, whatever.
But it's the opposite of what they want, right? Because they see schools as being the thing that's soft, that's not, wokery and all that sort of stuff. That's creating a generation or generations now of children that have no respect, that are wild on the streets, all of that. National service is the answer to what schools are not doing. I think to this block of voters, these boomers, these middle-aged gammons or whatever, they're like, no, schools are soft. Back when they were kids, they used to get the cane. You know what I mean? They were getting the cane across the desk if they weren't writing in a straight line or something. So
the best thing to do is to teach them how to use military weapons, teach them how to use knives, and teach them how to kill each other.
Well, I think there's nothing teaches you respect like a skin-headed geezer in camouflage shouting at you at 5 a.m. in the morning. That's what you need, right? Let's move on. Let's move on because
we've got to reform this conversation.
Go for it, man. Reform. Tell us.
Reform. Now, I think you're going to say this, but Reform are the party that changes its spots multiple times throughout its life. And I'll let you delve deeper into that because you've got a good historical background on what Farage has been up to. But the good thing about Reform, and I did, for each of these ones we've gone into, I've looked at the positive. I haven't wanted to go in and think Reform, okay, you're just a racist party. I've gone, no, let's read what they're telling me. So the good thing, make work pay. So have the income tax starting point as 20k, so you don't pay income tax until you get to that point, and then maybe make the higher rate should be 70k. I think that's really good, actually. I think that's giving you more tax breaks, you're going to have more money in your pockets, and if we've got more money, usually we're either saving it for our next generation or we're spending it on good stuff. And whatever happens, it goes back into the economy. Now, the bad things. Now, to be honest, I got to this one and didn't.
How did you find bad things in the Reform Manifesto? I don't believe it.
I didn't think it was going to be this bad, though. And we're going to play a little game here. We played this sort of game before, but stop the boats with our 4-point plan. Brilliant idea. Yeah. Boats have come over.
We all hate boats.
To the Viking time.
Yeah, we all hate boats.
Vikings brought boats over.
They bring nothing but trouble, do they, the boats, historically?
Yeah.
Nothing but
the
trouble.
boats coming from France or wherever else. Not good. But their plan, and you're going to guess the last word, lead the European Convention on Human what?
On human sacrifice. The European Convention on Human Sacrifice.
They haven't got that one. They got that one. The witches.
Right, okay. I think it's rights, isn't it? It's rights.
Leave the European Convention on Human Rights. That is their plan. Their plan to stop these boats is to leave the one thing that potentially keeps everyone safe and everyone equal. We're all humans in the world, no matter if you're from China, New Zealand, Antarctic, Iceland, England. We're all humans. And we should have certain rights. Everyone should have a set rights. It should just have it. It's not a questionable thing. Now, you might have a dictator that thinks that people shouldn't have these rights, but for us fair people, yeah, we should all be the same. He wants to leave it so we don't have the rights.
So
it's insane.
I think
so.
It is mental. On the face of it, it's mental, right? Of course, it's mental. But
Mental
I think there's something a bit more under this, right? Which is that I think they want to wash away completely any trace of European legislation within UK law, right? So that's what it is. I think the idea is to replace it with a UK Bill of Human Rights. That's what I think the idea is. However, you've told me that it doesn't actually explicitly say that. There isn't replace it with the UK when it's just like, yeah, human rights, they're overrated. We'll get rid of them because it's easier then to, stop the boats, maybe.
And they may go into detail. I've just looked at the highlights. Maybe they've got detailed descriptions behind it that say, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to replace it with the UK.
Maybe.
It's just stupid.
So I've got three things I want to say about reform that I think are good. Right, and I know I'm breaking convention here, and one thing that's bad. However, I'm going to put a little asterisk up here and caveat it for a moment. So the three things that I think are good, right? One of them, and I was really surprised to read this, was 50% of utilities companies they want to bring into public ownership. I did not expect to read such a socialist, dare I say, bordering communist policy within their manifesto. That's blown my mind a bit. Blown my mind. Second thing, a free speech bill. I'm all right with that. It shouldn't be a hate crime to tell somebody what your opinion is. Like, why is that a hate crime? Shouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
Third thing, and they've talked about it again and again, something that I'm passionate about, which is increasing the budget for farmers. They want to increase the budget for farmers. In fact, Reform has explicitly said one of the reasons that Brexit hasn't worked is because we've not invested in UK farming. That's absolutely right and spot on. Like, forget everything else that you say about them. That's correct. That is one of the reasons why Brexit
we have
is
good
not
soil.
We have decent soil, right? So one thing that I think is bad, and then this is going to be a little bit of a flip around here, but again, we'll come back on the asterisks in a moment. And the bad thing is NHS patients will get a fully funded private care if you cannot get a GP appointment within 3 days. And on the face of it, you think,
Paradise.
what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Little Doris, who lives in a bungalow in Clacton, where Nige is, wants to get a GP appointment, 4 days. What does she do on day 4? Does she phone Nige up? Nige, mate, right, I can't get a GP appointment. Can you help me out? And it's like, yeah, no worries at all, man. Just go to Bupa. This is undeliverable nonsense. Which brings us back to the point around everything within the Reform Manifesto. And actually, everything in everyone's manifesto moving forward from this point, other than Tories and Labour. Every single one of those guys can operate within a luxury that they can promise the earth, knowing full well that they'll never have to deliver it. And that's absolutely true. And that's exactly what Reform have done. It is just full of hyperbolic, jingoistic, demagoguery policies that play to the campaign. They're not actually there for implementing at all. And the last thing I'd say about it is that this is particularly salient with Nigel Farage now, because you think about the UKIP party, right? UKIP party, they achieved independence. Fair enough, they did it, right? We left Brexit, so they managed to do that. So then UKIP no longer relevant. Like, we can't call it UKIP anymore. We need a new party. Brexit party. That's what we're going to have. Brexit party. That's got a bit of a short shelf life as well, hasn't it? Brexit party. Because one day, hopefully, in the future, we'll stop talking about Brexit so much. The third one, Reform. Let's just put it out there. Let's say that Reform get into power. Nigel Farage, God help us, is the Prime Minister at some point, right? In 5-10 years, what are you reforming now? Yourself? What are you reforming? These things are like the car phone warehouse. They've got a very short shelf life. They are literally just the manifestation, the representation of Nigel Farage's latest cash cow. It's just a short-term money-making scheme. That's all it is.
Long brown coat. Just open it up to the politicians. Yeah. What do you want next, eh? What do you want next? We'll get anything you want.
Yeah, quartz. You want a quartz one over? I've got a Casio over here. No, it's just, absolute nonsense. So from the Reform, there's stuff in there that you think, I quite like this, but that's the point. It's playing to a particular demographic of low intelligent, jingoistic, Brexit, Stella swigging idiots who will definitely vote for him. And I'm sorry, but those are the people that were voting for Boris and now no longer voting for Boris because Rishi is a little bit brown, so we don't like Rishi. So they've moved over now back to Reform. That's exactly what's happening. Absolutely what's happening. This undercurrent of racism, jingoism, and idiocies in the voting electorate. That's what's going on there.
We've given Farage enough time. Let's
move
the
on.
Lib Dems.
Well, what can you say about the Lib Dems? I mean, they are... I remember David Cameron in 2010. I remember someone said to him on the campaign trail, I said, what's the best joke, you know? And he said, Nick Clegg. It was brilliant. And then a month later, he's having to have Nick Clegg as his deputy prime minister to form a coalition. Absolute golden. And I'm pretty sure that the journalists reminded him of that when they've come out and said, we have formed a coalition and we've been to Her Majesty and we're going to form a government. Somebody went, yeah, David, do you remember what you said last month about your favourite joke being Nick Clegg? Like that. And he's like, well, I didn't mean it. Like, he's my best mate. Right, sort of thing. Like the Lib Dems.
Politicians.
The Lib Dems are just pathetic. They are absolutely pathetic. And again, they're even worse than Reform because it's just full of promises that they're never going to deliver. Right, here's one. A good idea. Dad month for new fathers. What they actually mean behind that ridiculous branding, Dad month, because it sounds like pride, doesn't it? Dad month. We're going to have a whole month to celebrate dads.
Like
That's not what they mean. Yeah, that's not what they mean.
Months.
What they mean is...
It's going to get replaced when they're all filled.
They are going to invest
Santa was only a couple of weeks.
They're going to invest in paternity leave for men. That's all it is, right? That's what they're talking about. The last one, and again, undeliverable, so I don't like this sort of crap in your manifesto, is increasing the free-to-air sport. Another thing, I think that's good. I'd like to see more sport for free. I don't want to pay £30 a month for BT Sport and £30 a month for Sky Sports or whatever. There's people all over the country got dodgy Amazon Fire Sticks. Of course they have, because the regular person is priced out of watching sport, where you go to any other country and you can watch the Premier League for free. Exactly. The working man is priced out of going to it, and they're priced out of watching it on their own TVs. What an absolute joke that is. So the Lib Dems are like, yeah, free-to-air sport. Undeliverable. How are you going to make that work? What are you going to do? How are you going to legislate for that? So I'm not impressed with the Lib Dems at all.
You force these private companies or public companies to then give free sports on telly.
Well, they're going to need subsidising. So ultimately, we still pay for it. So it's just crap.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just free at the point of delivery. You're still having to pay for it. It's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Go for it, dude. What you got for Lib Dems?
Okay, my great ones. And this is, to be honest, is a really good one, to be honest. Ban all forms of conversion therapies and practices. Wholly back that. It doesn't specifically say the age group, but for whatever, you shouldn't make these permanent changes. You shouldn't cut yourself up, turn you from a man to a woman or a woman to a man. Stuff that I've read and understand is that even if you have these surgeries and the operations, there's complications afterwards. There's things you need to do to maintain this operation, because at the end of the day, you're changing your body. Your body doesn't go, okay, now I'm a woman, right now I'll behave like a woman. No, it's a man, just things have been cut to pieces. You've been mutilated. So I think it's really good. Ban it all. The bad is bad though. There's a couple here. There's three, but I'll touch on them quickly. Allow 16 to 17-year-olds to vote. Allow 16 to 17-year-olds to vote. I just think you've got other things to do at that age. I think there definitely will be people that are politically minded, people that are in these parties that are the youth that are going to move through them. But I just don't think you should let them vote. I think you're not really in that mindset where you care about who's in politics and who isn't. Maybe that's because of the parties. The second one, I'm going to say the second one. Yeah, the second one's going to be this one, which we'll touch on quickly. Give everyone the right to flexible working, and every disabled person the right to work from home if they want to. Unless there's significant business reasons why they're not possible. Now the thing is, I think everyone should have equal rights. But I think once you specifically say disabled people have the right to work from home, well, what's the people that are able-bodied, if you want to have that difference, why shouldn't they have the right to work from home? Why don't you just say it's equal? You're making people that want to be treated equally more special because they get that. I think that's just insane.
I think there's a sinister flip side
business
to that.
reasons, I'll just say no.
There's a sinister flip side to that, mate, which is it feels a bit like disabled. We don't want you in the workplace. You can work from home. You can hide away over there, so we don't have to look at you. Well, I don't think they've thought that out Very
That is
well.
extreme. How extreme
Maybe
you
that's
take it.
more of a
Yeah.
reflection on my psyche than it is on Ed Davies, but
Yeah.
that just doesn't. I don't like that. The other one. What was the first one you said? What was the first thing?
The one that said is scrap the allow people to vote, 16 to 17-year-olds to vote.
No, there was something else before that. I've forgotten what you said.
There's another one, don't worry. So
Yeah.
the misogyny. So this one's a banger.
No, go
This
on,
one,
that one. Yeah.
I wanted to lead this one to the end because this is the one where you think, why have you put this on? Make misogyny a hate crime. Now, I know what misogyny is, but I thought I'd look up the dictionary definition.
What you got for
Misogyny. Misogyny.
us? It's easy for you to say, man.
Oh yeah, it would be. Hold on. Straight off the press. This. Oh, blimey there. I'm gonna have to get close to it.
It's fine.
Make the dislike of, contempt for, or the ingrained prejudice against women. Now, their example, and this is the dictionary.
What's the
She
problem
felt
with
like
that? Why shouldn't we outlaw
Hold
that?
on. You need the example because this is
Alright.
what you're going to get
Okay.
prosecuted for.
Okay.
She felt like she was struggling against thinly disguised misogyny. That's their example. So, if someone is deemed a misogynist, someone says something bad against women, women say bad things against men. So I don't see you going the other way. I don't know if you can be a female misogynist.
Yeah, it's called misandrony. It's called misandrony when it's the other way around. Yeah, misandrony.
So it's all about men. So this one to me is saying, right, we want the women voters. You know, if any men say anything bad against you, they're going to get locked up, a criminal record. They're going to find it hard to get a job. He's a misogynist. I think it's just rubbish. You shouldn't interfere with this stuff.
So, I think, and I don't know if you remember this, with the old Humza Yousaf, who was the leader of the SNP, recently quit, didn't he? In a bit of a furore. So he had a hate crime bill, didn't he, in Scotland? And that hate crime bill, the Scottish hate crime bill, whenever that was, I think it was the 1st of April, it felt like an April Fool's joke, didn't it? And the Scottish hate crime bill came into effect on the 1st of April. And the funny thing about that was, I mean, it's not funny at all, but it specifically ignored misogyny as a hate crime. And they said, we'll get another one for misogyny. This one's about misgendering people and about Islamophobia and things like that. So they had to have a different one. So they had a hate crime bill. So in their hate crime bill, it was a hate crime to misgender someone, right? You can't misgender someone. So you can't hate someone because of the gender that they're not. But if you hate someone because of the gender that they are, then that's not a hate crime. That's what happened on the 1st of April. And then a few days later, they had a different hate crime, which was about misogyny. So I think the Lib Dems are playing on that right now. I think they're extending that dialogue, that narrative that happened there, all around hate crime. But your point,
aren't you then going against free speech?
100%.
You can't say we are restricting what words you can say now.
That's right.
She's a man, but actually she's a woman. You've misgendered her. You're now going to get prosecuted.
Well, it's over the top.
I mean,
you don't need it, do you? You don't need it.
Christ.
You just don't need it because there's existing laws, there's existing legislation in place for if that manifests into discrimination and in jobs or in life or anywhere in life, then there's existing legislation that deals with that. And that is wrong, absolutely wrong. But actually, if I'm going to say, no, I think that dude in the dress is a dude in a dress, I'm allowed to say that. It doesn't mean I hate the person at all. I don't know the person, but I'm actually saying what is something that's objectively true. And I definitely don't want to get arrested for if my wife winds me up and I go, oh, bloody women. You know what I mean? Which obviously is inherently misogynistic.
You're a misogynist.
Well, it is, and I get that it's reinforced through the repetition of the language.
What if they build a prison for it, actually? Well, they build a specific misogynistic prison where people have to go and they then are reformed.
Yeah, how does that work if you're a trans woman? Like, where would
therapy?
That's the therapy. The other one that I want to get to, but you said a moment ago, was around gender conversion therapy, right? Or just conversion therapy of all sorts. Here's an interesting thing, because my initial interpretation of that was the same as yours. But actually, when you speak to trans people and you listen to trans people, what they say is actually, no, it's conversion therapy the other way around. They're saying, I'm always trans. And if you try and psychologically persuade me that I'm not trans, that I'm actually a homosexual or whatever, then that's conversion therapy. So which way round is that? What are Lib Dems talking about there? Are they talking about literally, biologically change, or trying to biologically change through the outside
Well, it's
appearance?
operation, isn't it?
Or are they talking about, actually, no, a trans person is a trans person, and actually if we try and tell them nobody's born into the wrong body, what are you on about? You're actually just a homosexual, or or a fetishistic man. There's one or the other.
Who gives a crap? Do what they want.
Well, this is the point, but I don't know what Lib Dems are talking about.
Force it onto other people. That's the thing.
But we should move on. I'm conscious of time.
Yeah.
13, by the way. 13 right now. We need to keep going. 13. I know. It's not bad.
Nice.
Not bad. Green Party, man. What you got for us on the Green Party? Hit us, dude.
So the Green Party. What do you think
What's
they'd
bad?
be all about trees and stuff, but they're not. So the Green Offer is... The Green Offer includes a $5 billion package to invest in community sports and culture. So see grassroots sports clubs properly funded. Pretty cool idea, actually. I think sports and culture in the local community is really important. And I think if you've got a distraction from the bad things in life, you've got football that you want to play, you've got art that you want to create, you've got a place to create music, whatever your thing is, a place to do your science, whatever you enjoy, that may lead you on the right path rather than going, okay, I'm going to get into the bad things in life, so I'm not going to put any effort in life, all that sort of stuff. So that's the good thing. Now the bad thing, and I'll go through them quickly. Removing the cap on the two-child tax benefits, I think it's an absolutely awful idea. 2 people should be the maximum that the government ever pays for. After that, you're just taking the mick. If you want to have a big family, that's absolutely fine, but you should fund the family yourself. And that comes from a person who does have children, so I'm not taking the mick and saying...
And you've got more than 2, right? Yeah,
I've got more than 2, yeah. I'm a single guy with a lot of kids. But I think if I start saying, right, the amount of kids I've got, fund them all, no, you should plan it after that.
Mate, fair enough.
Another insane one, there's 2 insane ones, actually. I'll do the international one less. 4-day week. That's not going to happen. You're just not going to get a 4-day working week. Businesses aren't backing it. The international community doesn't work on 4 days. You'd have to potentially put a third of the workforce in, double the workforce to cover that time.
Yeah.
And the last but not least, redouble the efforts on Israel-Palestine.
Man.
What you want? Redouble. That's like me saying I'm going to try much harder.
I'm going to try harder
not to make them stop killing each other. You're not promising anything there. You're just promising to do more. It's like road maintenance. You're just promising to put a little bit more effort in.
Sorry, I've got no time for any manifesto that starts talking to me about Gaza, Palestine, Israel. I don't want to hear it. I genuinely don't want to hear it. Fine. You talk about foreign policy, talk about the commitment to resolving conflict in a peaceful way all over the globe as a foreign policy. Brilliant. But don't try and come at me like, trying to give me that bipolar view of Israel's bad, Palestine's good, or the other way round that you have. I don't want to know. And like you see, but certainly there's MPs in certain demographic areas, like high Muslim populations within the UK. That's their leading thing. Like, some of them have even got like Palestinian flags. Like, what the hell? Like George Galloway. Well, I can't remember where it was. It was up north somewhere, Bradford or something like that, when he got in, didn't he, in the by-election. It's like a Palestinian flag behind him. Like, what? What are you talking about? This is UK politics. Why am I talking about that? Absolutely mental. That grinds my gears. That does. But anyway, Green Party. So I've got 2 good things. Right. There was 2 good things in the Green Party, and I couldn't. I had to pick both. Right. So those good things are farming payments are linked to pesticide use. I think that's great. Now, just to clarify, it doesn't actually say in the manifesto which way round it is, whether you get more money for using more or less pesticides. I'm assuming because it's the Green Party, it's less pesticides. So you as a farmer, if you're using less pesticides, less GMO, less sort of stuff like that, then you're going to get more help. I like that. That's a good idea because it protects the soil, it protects the quality of the food and chemicals within the water table, all of that, really good stuff. And again, I'm a big fan of any manifestos that are talking about British farming to a great detail, to a great degree. No farmers, no food. I'll say that till the day I die. Right? Now, second thing I really liked, Absolutely love this in the Green Party manifesto. Free school meals for all children. Again,
Nice.
half of me thinks, why is that not already a thing? Because it should be a thing. If we're all sent in, again, I don't care what people earn. If people are earning hundreds of £1,000s a year, whatever, every child has the right to access healthy food during school and everything. That's absolutely critical. Not only that, the Green Party have actually talked a lot about healthy food education. So not just about healthy school meals for all children, but they're actually talking a lot around healthy food education. We've got an obesity problem. You want to take the strain off the NHS. Diet. It's all about the diet. It's all about the foods that we eat. Love that.
And I know time's against us, so I won't delve into it too much. Diet is the worst word in the world. It's just
I mean the food you consume. I don't mean to be on a diet. Diet as a description of the food that we consume. So your diet is what you consume, right? That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't mean go on a diet, lose calories. That's not what
I just wondered if it had anything to do with the weight you're trying to lose. So.
No. I'm trying to lose weight. I am actually on a diet, but because my diet has been very bad for quite a while. But anyway, the last thing. So yeah, I've gone on a diet within my diet, basically.
Sub-diet.
Which makes perfect sense.
Crack on.
So two good things. One thing, and again, like, it sounds good, but actually when you delve into it, you're like, you bloody idiots, you have not thought this through at all. And that is, they want to ban domestic flights for any journey that takes less than 3 hours by train, right? Two things about this. First of all, if the trains worked, and if I wasn't going to actually have a rail replacement bus service, then that's one thing, because now it takes 7 hours. Second thing, right? I'll tell you the reason people would choose a flight over choosing a train. And that is because my Ryanair flight to Edinburgh is about 30 quid from Luton. My train from London, from Luton up to Edinburgh is probably about £300-400. So that's why people choose flights and not a train. So you want to help people abandon flights. You want to get people on the more eco-friendly public transport of trains. Brilliant. Attack how much it costs. Don't take away 100%. An option. Don't take away an option. Make the train companies charge reasonable fares, because their fares are extortionate, absolutely extortionate. That's why people do it. So actually what you're doing with this policy, you're actually putting more power into the train companies' hands, because you're taking away competition from them. You're taking away options from the people, which now means the train companies can go to closed market, charge even more if I want. Who cares? And I will explain it away by infrastructure costs and leaves on the line and shit like that. Absolute joke, that policy. Ridiculous.
I'll give you true facts. A number of times I've looked to go to Manchester or up north, and I've looked for trains. I thought, I want to get a train this time. I want to be able to book a train, get in a carriage, sit down and go. And I just compare it to my petrol. It's like, right, how much petrol is going to take me to get there and back? How much is the train going to cost? And you're absolutely right. 400 quid, whatever, to get somewhere.
It's unbelievable.
Compared to maybe 100 quid in your fuel tank. Yeah. It's not a choice then. You go, right, I'll drive.
Of course, yeah. So you want to help the ecology, you help the economy, don't you? That's the point. First of all, make it cost effective. Make it cost effective for people to make the right choice. Vote for me. Don't vote for me. I'm ruining
it. Vote for farmers. A vote for Simon is a vote for farmers.
It is a vote for farmers. It absolutely is. So yeah, that's my Green Party one. I think that last one is just one of those things that sounds nice. It's one of the end of the day focus group things that they've done. You're like, well, we need one more. We've got another paragraph's worth of space in our manifesto. Oh, no, ban flights or something. And they've just put it on there without really thinking it through. What they should have had is, we will make it more attractive for people to use trains by working with national network rail and rail companies to bring down fares and subsidise and maybe nationalise some of the rail infrastructure again. That would have been a better idea. That's a much better idea, rather than taking away competition. That's stupid. Absolutely stupid. Take away competition, you drive up class. Simple as that. So that's the Green Party. Right. The SNP have not published theirs yet. They've not published theirs. But I did hear, and this is a quote, that independence will be page 1, line 1. Page 1, line 1. So Scottish independence is page 1, line 1. So I think the SNP...
Which they voted against.
No. The SNP are the national... They're the people who want to be independent, right? They're the people that bought the vote. So they want And they
I'm
always.
sure Scotland voted against it.
Oh no, they did 51-49. They did. Yeah. But
so they want it, but Scotland don't.
Well, there's an odd thing, isn't there? Because they voted no in the referendum, which was quite a while ago now, well over 10 years, I think. But also they keep voting the SNP into power in Scotland, which gives the SNP the mandate to talk about independence, which is it's an odd thing, isn't it? A really odd thing. However, the SNP, I would say, in the last 4 to 5 years, have roundly ignored concepts of independence, massively so. They have not pushed this at all with Westminster in the way that they should, especially when you consider that the vast majority of Scotland overwhelmingly voted to stay in the EU, but because of their ties to the Union, they were taken out of the EU. And one of the major things around the Scottish independence referendum that happened whenever it was that if you leave the Union, you will be leaving the EU and you'll have to enter the EU yourself, which is a difficult process. So that was one of the reasons why people are, we don't want to leave the EU. We'll better stay in the Union because that means we get in the EU. A few years later, you're out of the EU precisely because you're in the Union. If they'd have went independent, they'd have probably been a member of the EU. So I think that there is very much a mandate for Scottish independence. I really do. I'm just not sure that SNP are the right ones to do it. I actually think the Alba Party are much better positioned in my personal experience. The Alba Party. There's Neil Hanvey, who's one of my favourite politicians. Lovely bloke as well. Really nice guy. If you're watching it, Neil, what's up, dude? I like Neil. He's a good guy.
That would be amazing.
He's a good chum. He's a good guy. So I think the Alba Party are much better positioned to deliver on things like independence anyway. But no manifesto for SNP. I can never say this. Is it Plaid Cymru? Have I said that right?
Plaid Cymru, I'd say. Whichever.
Stupid freaking language. The Welsh Party, whatever, right?
It's just bad language, Jesus Christ.
Oh, come on. It's got way too many consonants in a row. I ain't having it.
We've got the Cornish in the bottom left-hand corner of our country. They're trying to keep theirs alive.
Canal, yeah, you're right. And I'm 15, by the way. We hit 15 again, which is good. It's good. Consistency. We're on a trend here. Brilliant. But I will say, the Welsh...
trend of flatness.
The Welsh... Yeah. Plateau. The Welsh have published. The Welsh Party have published their manifesto. I did have a little look at it. I don't think you have. You didn't look at the Welsh one, did you? Because you're like, well, I can't vote for them anyway, so who cares?
I did. I looked at the website and it's all about Wales. So I thought, well,
yeah, who wants to know about that?
Over to you, Simon Davis, expert on Wales.
I did read about it. So I have got one good thing and one bad thing about the Welsh one. Well, actually, I don't. I just have 2 points, and you could decide yourself whether they're good or bad. Because I really don't know. And I reckon maybe anybody who's watching this who's Welsh, who's got Welsh affiliations, can tell me what they think. So the Welsh one is really interesting because they say Wales. They want Wales to be, and I'm going to read it out: a sovereign, independent country that's part of NATO and seeks to rejoin the EU at some point in the future. They are making all the noises of independence. All the noises of independence within their manifesto. The Welsh Party, yeah, interesting, right? Super interesting. So that sovereign independent country, part of NATO, and rejoins the EU at some point in the future. Interesting stuff. Now, the odd one that I just think, well, maybe this isn't. So maybe if this was an English party one, you'd be like, you're wasting paper again. It's a bit like banning mobile phones during a school day. It's a bit like your potholes from Labour. It's a bit like that. From my perspective, if I'm reading this, I'm going, why is this in your manifesto? Doesn't make sense. I reckon if you're from Wales, this might be a very important point because of the demographic of people there and everything. And that is livestock worrying legislation. Now, you shouldn't be confused about this meaning gangs of youth going up and bothering cows in the field. That's not what it means at all. The livestock worrying legislation, which apparently, and I didn't know this, the Tories abandoned in Parliament quite recently, is all about dog attacks on livestock. So the Welsh Party have got room in their manifesto to talk about reducing dog attacks on livestock and to reintroducing the livestock worrying legislation bill in Parliament. Super interesting stuff, right? So that's the Welsh Party.
Nature. That's what they want. The Welsh want to stop nature.
Well, I think they want to increase dog leads. Maybe I think that's all it is. Like, make dog leads free or something. That might do it, mightn't it? Or I don't know. They want to stop dog attacks on livestock, because I guess that they've polled the Welsh people, and that's important to the Welsh people, right? Indeed. But we've gone through the major parties, but we haven't gone through every party, Paul. We haven't gone through every party, have we? There's a little surprise at the end, isn't there?
Apologies. Yes, there is.
There's
a
surprise at the end. So we've been through the main parties. We've been through Labour, Tories, Reform, Lib Dem, Green Party, SNP haven't got one yet. And we've been through the Welsh Party. However, there's someone else to talk about here. And actually, this political party, this person has just been endorsed by a national newspaper. That newspaper is the Daily Star. I'll give you that. But they have been endorsed as the most sensible manifesto of every party so far. And that is none other than Count Binface. So here it is, guys. Bam, bam, bam. This is Count Binface's Manifesto 2024. And we're not going to read it all out, Paul. We're not going to read everything in here. But actually, there's some quite interesting stuff in here. 3 and 4 are brilliant. Wi-Fi on trains that works. 4, trains that work. I love that. Just absolutely brilliant. National service, going on to your point, Paul. National service to be introduced for all former prime ministers, which is just genius. Absolutely love that. And there's a lot of things in here where you read it and you go, it's daft. It's obviously comical, right? We get it. But actually, Paul, you made an interesting point earlier about, no, this is representative of all of the other manifestos, isn't it?
100%.
That they're filled with things that are a bit daft.
A lot of insanity behind it, but actually, and I think it may be 24. We're gonna scroll it down in a second. There's a real sensible one. Think I can back that. I can get behind that, and that is a good choice.
It's 23. No, what is it? 22. 22.
22. I knew it was in the 20s. So MPs to live in the area they wish to serve for 4 years before election to improve local representation.
I love it. I love it. Look at Nigel Farage.
I
don't think he lives in Clacton, does he? He doesn't live in Clacton.
No.
That's a really good rule. Why is that not a rule? That's a really good rule. And 24 is my favourite, I think. Count Binface to represent the UK at Eurovision.
Yeah, then it's being silly. It's a shame, though.
Is it? I don't know. Is it any sillier than the other ones?
Number 21, the mini golf course at Richwood Swimming Pool.
Well, look at
the Open Championship.
I know. The hand dryer in the Gents urinals at the Crown and Treaty Uxbridge to be moved to a more sensible position. I mean, that's good. It's number 17. Read number 17.
Ministers paid to be tied to that of nurses for the next 100 years. Yeah, exactly. It's a really cool one. Really sensible.
It's good, isn't it? It is good. So there are a couple of really good ones in there for sure. But guys, I think, Paul, if you had to pick one as your least likely to vote for out of that, I'm not going to ask you who you're going to vote for. That's entirely up to you. I don't want to know unless you want to share it. But if you had to pick one that you were least likely to vote for out of all of that, who would it be?
It's going to be Reform, just because of the connotations of leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. I just think if you're going to vote someone in, you have to take them on face value that they're going to do everything in their manifesto. They never will. It's all a bunch of lies usually. But if they're going to take us out of that, I just think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
insanity.
That's done you in, isn't it? Yeah. That's done you in.
And they're doing well, though. Reform are doing well, polling very well at the moment. Obviously, on just nothing too serious, but
in some polls, you see them as likely to become the official opposition, don't you? Yeah. Which just blows your mind. Imagine Nigel Farage standing the other side of Keir Starmer come the 5th of July. It's entirely possible at this.
Bunch of skinheads behind them on the chairs.
Yeah, the National Front, which someone told me when Nigel Farage was a youngster, he was obsessed that his initials were the same as the National Front, NF. Amazing. Oh, I know, you can't make it up, can you? Based on the manifestos alone, I'd agree with you. Reform is the least likely party that I would vote personally. However, it's not the least likely party that I would vote full stop, because if we're going further than the manifestos, the Tories they're done. They've cooked their goose. They are washed. They've made an absolute mess, as they always do. They are completely done. They're obliterated, I think, as a political power for a generation now, for at least 10 years. I think we'll see something akin to what we saw with Tony Blair, with Labour being in power now for 10 to 15 years, I think, in the same way that we've just seen Tories being in power for 10 to 15 years. So I think that Tories are the people that I would least likely to vote, because I think you've done it and you've done nothing at all. Do you know what I mean? And it's all empty promises now in manifestos. I don't even think Rishi wants it. I think he's kind of looking to sabotage it himself. Going, I'm kind of done. I'm a multi-millionaire. I don't need this shit. I'm out of here. Do you know what I mean?
$500 million in his family.
Exactly. He's done. But that was good. I like that, Paul. We should do more serious things like that. Election special.
No.
Election special.
Potentially. But mix it up with some happy stuff.
Well, yeah, indeed, because there's not a lot happy is there around politics.
Audience,
but I do.
Those 15 people that are watching us, comment.
It was 16.
Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want.
Oh no, it's gone down. Somebody had to go.
Politics. I'm going.
Or they have to go back to work from lunch, whatever. There is no better way to spend your Tuesday lunchtime, guys, by the way. You're not doing anything better. You're not doing anything more important. And you're just letting yourself down if you're not watching us, massively so. But I think that we should do an election special on the week of the election. So what is it, Thursday? July the 4th is the Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe we'll do a special episode on the 5th once we know the results. We'll do a Friday.
The insanity of their campaigns.
A Friday evening special
from a
episode.
point of view of what we've seen on Twitter, what we've seen on X formerly Twitter, Twitter formerly X, or whatever way you want to say it, everyone has to keep saying it. What we've seen on telly and the stupid things that they've been getting up to.
It's a good idea. Next week, I've got a suggestion for you, Mr. Davis. Got a suggestion. Can we talk next week about conspiracy theories?
Yeah, definitely.
Can we? Because I've got a guest.
Is it conspiracy theory?
Well, yeah, or is it just bloody obvious? So I've got a guest that's going to come on from America, who wants to talk about her favourite conspiracy theories, and I reckon you're going to get on well with her, because I reckon that you're right in tune with her. So can we get her on next week and talk about conspiracy theories? So next week, Paul, I want you to go away and get your top 3 conspiracy theories. Can you do that?
100%.
Yeah. Cool. So guys, join us next week for conspiracy theory special. We're going to talk about our favourite conspiracy theories and why they're actually probably true. That's going to
one of them would be all leaders of the free world are actually
lizards. Are nice guys. Nice guys. I love that. Now that is a conspiracy theory I cannot believe.
Cool.
Guys, to the 15, 16 people that have tuned in today, we love you. Thank you so much. Paul, anything more to say?
Much appreciated.
Just
don't vote reform. Can't wait till next week.
Yeah.
Can't wait till next week, and we will try and take that time back down to that half an hour. But UK politics is a deeply meaningful subject.
Election special. It was always going to be a long one, wasn't it? It was. Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week. Much love.
Cool. Ta-da.
Ta-da.